ikkyo from Aikido into the clinch. Okay, so we're in typical 50-50. Got my hand inside. What I do is duck under, pop the elbow across. As this hand comes up, I catch this wrist, and a big rotation round. This control here. And as I step through, simply take this back, and I can work in, get my hooks in, so on and so forth. It's a bit like an arm drag in a sense. You're putting them round and down in a spiral motion to the mat. So once again, we're in there, pop, drop. I'm here now, strong in the hips, push up and over, secure this arm, down and round, step round, here, seat belt, rear naked choke. Again, plenty of options. Okay, the next technique is Sankyo. Obviously with a typical Aikido, you normally do it stood in front of each other, hit neck catches, bring over into the Sankyo. But to make it adaptable in MMA, I've found there's ways you can do reversal on the floor, there's other positions you can do from, but one of the typical techniques that is game over for people is when they get caught in a rear naked choke. It is a wrist lock that you can get, but you've first got to break the rear naked choke. If Nick gets me, we'll just do a standing. It could be sitting, laying down, either. Okay, if I can make a break on this hand, if it's sunk in deep, obviously it's going to be very tough to get out of. I make the break, as I get here, roll his elbow over with my shoulder, freeing up this hand. And then as I step through tight here, I've opened up on this entire side to come through with a knee. Okay, I'm not going to get submission from here, but it's going to take him off balance. It's going to put him in a lot of pain and difficulty on his elbow, and then I'm going to strike from there and then follow on with whatever. The next technique stems from a third form ikkyo, which is basically grabbing by the collar, which I then went to adapt, catching from a neck catch, rolling the hand over and putting on a wrist lock. Goes up through the elbow and through the wrist. The way I incorporated it in MMA, there's several different ways. One of the ways is when I'm on my back, I've got Nick in my guard, and he's pushing my head down by the throat, trying to make things very uncomfortable. Okay, I reach over, my hand mirrors his hand, thumb over thumb, I roll the thumb over, push my shoulder up, breaking the lock from there. Obviously, if he tries to come up with his hand, with this hand, I'm going to pop through and transition into something MMA like a triangle. Okay? It's a little bit of a reverse Sankyo. I first come across it and got a tap when I was going for an Umapalata, which I just didn't put off particularly well, and I was stuck with a loose arm between my legs. Didn't really want to give up my position. It was a little bit 60-40 in their favour, and I still had the arm, put on like a ikkyo and a reverse Sankyo, got the tap, and this is kind of how it went. So Nick was in my guard, here defensing, broken the guard, come up, tried to cut over here, and as I tried to get up, I just couldn't get there. I rolled the hand up and over, like a reverse ikkyo, like that, and got the tap from there. Okay? And I just roll the fingers over to touch the mat, obviously causing this rotation in the wrist and the elbow, and as you'll hear quite clearly, got the tap there. Well. Okay, and just finally to wrap up today was an adaptation that came from Kodagish. Again, from third form, I'm thinking of catching up here, the hands are high, and instead of catching on the gi, as in Aikido, the hands up here 50-50, we're in here, we've pummeled in here. What I do is slip this hand through up, push the head, and as I come down, travel down across the arm, and this is here for the lock. Nick's not an Aikidoka, he wouldn't break full, he'd go to the back, or he'd go straight into the mat, where I'd be falling in with a ground and pound, or some kind of hold, submission, whatever.
Well, thank you, Rick, and thank you, Nick.